Tonight, measles update, Norton Health reporting a potential exposure. Missing, Fort St. John police looking for a 14-year-old girl. And stiff penalty, a gas plant in Fort Nelson fined by WorkSafe BC. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with Norton Health reporting another potential measles exposure in the Peace region. The health authorities saying it happened at the hospital in Fort St. John. If you were at the prenatal clinic on June 27th from 10:30 a.m. just to after 1 p.m., you may have been exposed to the highly contagious virus. Health officials suggesting you monitor for symptoms and go to a doctor. 61 measles cases have been reported across the Norton Health region. Norton, BC is the only region of the province seeing an increase in cases in the past 3 days. Health officials say immunization is the best way to prevent measles. Police in Fort St. John are asking for the public's help in finding a missing 14-year-old girl. Mounties are looking for Makeda Bendy. The teen was reported missing after she was last seen on Canada Day. The RCMP and her family are concerned for her well-being. Bendy is being described as a Caucasian female. She stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs 150 pounds. She has blue eyes and streaked blonde hair. Bendy also wears glasses and has a nose ring. If you have any information on her whereabouts, you are being asked to contact the Fort St. John RCMP. An oil and gas company in Fort Nelson is facing a stiff fine from WorkSafe BC. Ish Energy has been fined just over $88,000 for a number of health and safety deficiencies. WorkSafe says the firm's gas plant failed to ensure emergency washing facilities were provided, a repeated violation. The company also failed to ensure workers wore eye and face protection. WorkSafe says these are high-risk violations. Ish Energy also failed to provide a number of proper first and aid measures to protect workers. Free air quality monitors are being provided to households in Dawson Creek. The monitors will provide potentially life-saving information, especially for those who suffer from lung disease and are particularly vulnerable to poor air quality. The city of Dawson Creek was identified as a community lacking a public outdoor air quality monitor. The city is a high-risk area for wildfire smoke events. The BC Lung Foundation will be visiting Dawson Creek on July 8th. Next week, a total of 90 air quality monitors will be handed out, including 85 indoor monitors and 5 outdoor monitors. For more information, you can head to our website listed at the bottom of your screen. Northeast BC continues to see lots of fire activity as drought conditions persist. There is some rain in the forecast today and this weekend, but with that brings the threat of lightning. The BC Wildfire Service saying the area restriction near the Pocket Knife Creek wildfire has been lifted. There are currently 80 wildfires burning across the province. BC is stepping up the fight against hate-motivated offenses by expanding its provincial hate crime unit.
BC is the only province with a provincial policing unit solely dedicated to investigating hate crimes, supporting victims, and working with communities to prevent these types of incidents.
BC is investing more than $730,000 into the unit, adding 5 additional RCMP officers and a new intelligence analyst. The funding is part of the province's $230 million investment into the BC RCMP. The province saw a 23% increase in reported hate crimes from 2022 to 2023, with those linked to religion and sexual orientation seeing the biggest jump. It's been a week since the explosion at Bowen Ma's office in North Vancouver. The MLA now says Ma won't be intimidated to continue her work and to serve her community.
I've done a lot of reflecting on how frightening a situation like this can be for a community. And I want the community to know that my office continues to be there to support them and that I have full confidence in the RCMP as they conduct their investigation.
Last Friday, an explosion tore off pieces of the front door to her constituency office. The office is still closed to the public because of the damage to the door. Ma says her staff have been working virtually, and she says they are still able to answer calls and emails from the public. The police are currently investigating the blast. Police in the lower mainland of BC say 2 people have been arrested regarding the extortion violence targeting the South Asian business community. While police call it an operational step, there's plenty more work to be done, as Kevin Chirac reports.
For well over a year, Surrey's South Asian business community has been targeted. Phone calls or letters demanding large sums of money and threatening violence if not paid, sometimes finding their businesses riddled with bullets. Today, the RCMP Joint Force Operation, a group launched in January to tackle the issue, announcing its first arrests.
The 2 individuals today I can confirm were arrested for offenses related to careless use of a firearm, arson, and related specifically to extortion offenses. The time frame is sort of late 2023 to 2024, but there were actually several different incidents that we believe this group was responsible for.
But no charges laid, and the suspects could soon be back on the streets.
The expectation is that they may be released without charges.
Investigations like these, a common theme across the country. In Ontario, authorities recently announcing charges for more than a dozen linked to extortion and organized crime. Last week, the Surrey Police Service, separate from the RCMP-led group, said it has 12 active investigations, but believes there are many more going unreported. The SPS have yet to make an arrest linked to extortion.
We have not put anything forward before the Crown at the present time.
Criminals are threatening people and businesses for money.
The provincial government and Crime Stoppers launching an ad campaign last week urging victims of extortion threats to come forward or report anonymously. RCMP did not say how many extortion investigations they're currently working on. Because no charges have been laid, police releasing very little information about the suspects, only that they're both Surrey residents and they're believed to be linked to a larger group responsible for several extortion incidents spanning more than a year. Kevin Chirac, CTV News, Surrey.
Vancouver is welcoming thousands of people from around the world this week to celebrate sobriety. The International Alcoholics Anonymous Convention is taking place at the Convention Center for 3 days. Craig Krause has more on the impact the event is making on the city and also on participants.
A sea of pink could be seen taking in the sights and sounds of Vancouver Thursday morning. A crowd made up of people from around the world, but who are here for one reason.
The 90th celebration of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Vera is just one of the 35,000 taking part, sitting down with CTV News to share her story of recovery.
Before Alcoholics Anonymous, I couldn't stop drinking. I had a life that was not very pleasant.
Broken relationships, lost jobs, and jail time. A life that was leading her down a road of destruction.
I noticed the scars on your arm. Do you mind sharing that story?
This is a direct result of my drinking. This was a car accident that I had in 1986 as a result of drinking and not stopping. So I wrecked my truck. The truck flipped over. I slid on the highway for over 300 and some odd feet. I found these facts out when I went to court because I got arrested.
Scars that are now a reminder of why she decided to get sober. Did Alcoholics Anonymous save your life?
Yes. Alcoholics Anonymous absolutely saved my life.
A sentiment shared by many as they met and shared their stories at the convention for the first time in 10 years.
People really save up. They look forward to going to the international conventions.
All bringing a substantial economic boost to the city.
We expect to be around $63 million additional into the economy, and that also is going to produce 96,000 room nights for our local accommodations.
A 3-day conference that will be capped off with a celebration at BC Place. But in the meantime, as Vera gets ready for her first meeting in Vancouver, she has a simple message for those who are struggling and are considering AA.
I have a worldwide posse. I can go anywhere in the world and connect with another alcoholic through a meeting.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
A mandatory evacuation order has been issued for the residents of a town in Norton, Manitoba. The town of Lin Lake has been evacuated for the second time this year. Its 600 residents can be transported to a reception center set up down south in the town of Brandon. Lin Lake officials say a loss of power is also expected. They say if the blaze hits transmission lines, the town could lose power for as long as a month. In neighboring Saskatchewan, 5 communities are currently under wildfire evacuation orders. New data shows the Liberals' ambitious defense spending plan is also expected to significantly raise Canada's deficit in the coming years. The CD Howe Institute predicts Canada's deficit to top $92 billion this fiscal year. This is due to Prime Minister Carney's plan to meet NATO's defense spending target. The data forecasts a deficit averaging around $78 billion a year for the next 4 years. That's more than double the prediction of the parliamentary budget officer before the spring election. Conservative leader Pierre Polyv has officially registered to run in the upcoming by-election in the Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot. Polyv kicked off his campaign Thursday. The seat became available after Conservative MP Damien Kurek stepped down, giving Polyv a chance to return to the House of Commons. Polyv lost his Ottawa area seat to Liberal MP Bruce Fanjoy in the April election. The campaign website is now up and running. With the separatist movement growing in Alberta, the province's new referendum rules take effect this morning. The new threshold to trigger a referendum will be 177,000 signatures collected within 4 months. Alberta Premier Daniel Smith says the separatist sentiment is a big reason for the rule change. People want Alberta to stay in Canada, and those who want Alberta to leave have already started applying for petitions. Smith says she wants Alberta to stay in Canada. She's blaming federal policies for the separatist sentiment. To a troubling story now, there is new concerns tonight about racism, sexism, and homophobia in the Canadian military. Facebook page is being condemned by senior military leadership over its offensive comments. CTV's Rachel Ayol has the details.
The Canadian Armed Forces is investigating members of a private Facebook group that included content the Army's commanding officer has called abhorrent. The group, known as the Blue Hackle Mafia, was first reported to the chain of command last December. Initially, military police launched an investigation into historic complaints about the private page. But the case was then transferred to the unit whose members were allegedly involved to conduct its own disciplinary investigation. The Office of the Canadian Forces Provost Marshal said today that transfer was considered the best use of options available in this case. But after the commander of the armed forces said he was made aware of the page last week, military police reopened their investigation. In a statement, Lieutenant General Michael Wright said the content posted included racist, misogynistic, homophobic, and anti-Semitic comments and images, and that this type of behavior is unacceptable, and any member who engages in inappropriate behavior should expect to face consequences. This comes amid ongoing efforts within the military to rehabilitate its image and reform its culture after years of reported misconduct. Military police said today that as the investigation is ongoing, no further information will be provided. And Defense Minister David McGuinty called the alleged behavior completely unacceptable. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
New federal immigration numbers confirmed to CTV News show a surprising number of people entering Canada come with prior criminal records. Canada approved more than 17,000 applications between 2014 and 2024. That's about 70% of the requests made. Immigration Canada says people with past convictions outside Canada must demonstrate they have been rehabilitated and do not pose a risk. It adds the policy has helped reunite family and allows performers and athletes to enter the country despite having criminal records. Donald Trump is celebrating July 4th at the White House, where he has signed into law his tax cut and spending bill.
I've never seen people so happy in our country because of that, because so many different groups of people are being taken care of, the military and civilians of all types, jobs of all types. We're adding things like the biggest tax cut in the history of our country.
The bill will fund the U.S. president's immigration crackdown, making his 2017 tax cuts permanent. It could leave millions of Americans without health insurance. Republicans say the legislation will boost economic growth, while analysts predict it will add $3.4 trillion to the nation's debt. 3 years after the war between Ukraine and Russia started, Ukraine has suffered its largest aerial assault of the conflict. Ukrainian officials say Russia launched 550 drones and missiles overnight, and Kyiv was the primary target. Authorities say one person was killed and at least 26 people were injured. The strike on the capital happened hours after Donald Trump spoke with his Russian counterpart. The US president later said he doesn't think Vladimir Putin is looking to stop the fighting. Trump spoke with Volodymyr Zelensky today. The Ukrainian president said they discussed air defense as well as joint defense production and purchases. Stay tuned, we'll be right back with the weather.